You can't get to the point like you would on stage where you're really sobbing and your eyes are completely, flooded, because I'm having to read a script and watch lip movements, and you can't do that if you're crying so hard you can't see. So what you have to learn is a bunch of vocal techniques in terms of breathing, in terms of the way you phrase things and stuff like that, to make it sound like you're crying. Well, so we did the scene with Swatangu and his sister. And I keep referring back over here to Swatangu every time I'm talking about Speed Grapher. Sorry to all of you. We did the scene where he finally finds his sister and it just falls apart. And thank you. And did the entire scene. I'm in a little tiny whisper booth, so I can put both hands on the wall. We did that scene, both hands on the wall. I finished the scene. And the director's like, "Chris, you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah. Can you do it again?" And he's like, "You weren't crying?" I said, "No." I said, I can get the emotion there that I need. The emotion here and here. But I cannot let that happen because that's going to completely get in the way of doing my job. Then I'm going to have to do like 9 or 10 takes. I really don't want to have to put myself through that. And so he's like, "That was really good." I'm like, "Can we do it one more time? I thought it sucked." And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Is there anything you want different?" He said, "On this shot, can you give the breath a little more itching?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, okay." So we did the entire thing again. I get more pictures because I'm almost hyperventilated by the end of it. And I'm holding myself again. He's like, "Chris, you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, what?" And he's like, "I thought for sure you were crying again." I said, "No, I can't do that and see the monitor and see my script." And he's like, "Oh yeah." So that's one thing that I am very proud of. That scene in Speed Grapher, that whole crying section is all one uninterrupted take, and it was the second take. So I'm very proud of that. I probably have time for one, maybe 2 quick questions. Of course, with me, nothing's ever quick. So, another question. Yes, right there.
Do you have any upcoming titles you talk about?
No, God, I wish I could. I've just worked on something really cool, but I signed a 22-page non-disclosure agreement on where they could sue me for several $1,000s. It was like, I had to sit on not being able to talk about Mermaid Melody Pitchy to G-Pitch because of the deal we had signed with Amusement Park Media and the Japanese creators. I had to sit on that for 2.5 years before somebody finally accidentally leaked a clip or the television pitch commercial that was done. It got leaked somehow on YouTube from Spain, of all places. I don't know how that got to Spain, how that disc got to Spain, because that was only on disc. It was the only place you could find it. So finally, Amusement Park Media had to say, yes, we did do it. So I finally, and the girls who are in the show were so excited to finally talk about the show. So, no, there's nothing that I can talk about, unfortunately. I have been told that I will be directing something soon up at ADD. I don't know what. I don't know whether it's going to be ADD or we don't know for sure. They said they're fairly sure that something's coming in that they would like me to work on. So, but I don't know. So I have no idea. I do not know what. As far as stuff that I've recorded on, I just went back in and did some more One Piece. But it's the same character. It's Johnny that I did before. You just several episodes later, all of a sudden he comes back in a flashback. You see like his history with Zoro. The other thing, I don't know if I can talk about it or not yet, so I'm probably better off not. So one more question. We have time for one more. Yes, right there.
Do you still do any live work?
I wish I could say yes. I've not done any live theater in about 4 years, and it kills me. Believe me, I've got a lot of designers that are like, "When are you going to quit this anime crap and come back to theater?" I'm like, well, and the problem being is that I don't know when I'm going to get called to Dallas. I don't know when the studio is going to need me to work nights. And with my convention schedule, it's like I've got 1 week off and then I'm in Paducah. After this, and then I've got a couple weeks off and I'm in Virginia. It's very hard to get a 4 to 6 week block of time uninterrupted with no conventions and no emergency trips to Dallas or emergency sessions in the evening at ADB or Amusement Park Media that I can. And when you're directing a show, you have to have that time available. I could easily miss a rehearsal and leave it with my musical director. But when you're getting a show ready to go, Now, once it shows up and running, you can certainly, I know a lot of directors that walk away and leave everything in the hands of their stage manager. And as long as you've got a good stage manager who's going to maintain your show, you're fine. But that's several weeks that you have to be, the parent. So I unfortunately have not been able to, the last thing that I did was Your Good Man, Charlie Brown. I just had to turn down the show. I was asked to come in and choreograph Pirates of Penzance, which I love, for a theater in Houston, and I had to tell them no. For one, they're halfway across the city. They're almost to Galveston, which could cost me a fortune. And for two, the amount they were willing to pay was not even enough to pay for my gas to and from. And that, my convention schedule, I said no. And I think that is about all we have time for. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. And incidentally, Troy Baker is going to be in here next. So I can't hang and do